Welcome back to the American Crime Femicide channel. Disturbing and brutal revelations have surfaced in the Mahogany Jackson case, as 6 of the 8 defendants returned to court for a preliminary hearing. Previously undisclosed details, initially captured in written form rather than videos, have now been unveiled, shedding a sorrowful spotlight on the cruel and harrowing final moments of Jackson's life. Mahogany was tortured for hours before she was fatally shot in the back of her head. She likely knew she wasn't going to survive the abduction. Jackson was so terrified by the physical and sexual attacks, most caught on video recorded by the defendants, that she had a bowel movement on the floor. The fact that the victim defecated on herself around the time she was being ordered to shower speaks to her level of knowledge of what is about to happen to her, attorney Carissa Henrik said in court Wednesday, which was she was not going to leave, ever, and she was going to die. Birmingham homicide detective Mark Green testified for hours on March 13, detailing how a witness came forward early in the investigation with videos, evidence and location of Jackson's body. That witness, Green said, came forward to clear his name after he felt he had been accused on Facebook as being involved in Jackson's disappearance. Green said Jackson possibly stole a gun from someone, and someone had then stolen it back from her and she was upset. That may have led to her violent death. The detective also said one of the suspects discovered by looking at Jackson's phone that she had messaged family members, saying she was being held hostage and sending them her location. It was at that point, the alleged shooter Harris said, "She ain't going nowhere." When the hearing ended, the judge found probable cause to send the capital murder during a kidnapping charges for Pope, Harris and McDowell to a grand jury.
Tonight, new details in the death of Mahogany Jackson. 6 of the 8 suspects in court today. Thank you so much for joining us here at 6. I'm Brittany Dechter.
I'm Guy Rawlings. We've been following the Mahogany Jackson case. WVTM 13's Aaron Llewellyn, live and local in Birmingham tonight outside the Jefferson County Courthouse. A lot of the details too gruesome to talk about, Aaron.
Yeah, Guy, Brittany, the hearing today lasted for about 3 hours, and the legal teams went through the details of what led up to Mahogany Jackson's death and even uncovered some new details about her final moments, and some of it was too unbearable for her family to hear. Now, today we know that the defense attorneys claim that Jackson was at one of the suspects' house, Brandon Pope, and questioned him about a gun that she says was stolen and money that was also stolen from her purse at some point throughout the day. She even made him strip to prove he didn't have it. Now, Pope told Harris to do something to her because she made him strip. Now, the detectives working the case say Jackson was assaulted multiple times throughout the time she was being held against her will. Now, both Jackson and some of the suspects' families were in the courtroom today for the detailed hearing, some of it becoming emotional. Now, District Attorney Danny Carr says her family might be disappointed some of the charges were reduced or thrown out, but they are one step closer to justice.
They understand the circumstances, but they also appreciate what we have in front of us, and they understand that this is a marathon and not a sprint. There's still a lot of work ahead of us, and we'll be there with them every step of the way and make sure that there's accountability.
Now, later in the day before Jackson died, she was put in Harris's car, and he, Pope, and McDowell took her to clean Harris's car out. Even though the defense claims Harris said they were taking her back to her house, that's when Harris is accused of pulling the trigger and shooting Jackson in the back of the head. Now, District Attorney Danny Carr calls this one of the most gruesome murders he's ever seen.
Since I've been in this office, I've had some, yes. Some of y'all maybe, I was young too at the time, but the Thanksgiving homicide at the Airport Inn Hotel where 3 people were brutally murdered in the Airport Inn Hotel on Thanksgiving morning. I actually handled that case and tried it myself. That was a very brutal case. This one, unlike that one, the brutality kind of played itself out in real time because it's video. There's a video involved.
Now, this case is still being investigated, so new details could emerge in the coming days. And the things that are still being investigated are rape kits and ballistic results. Now, the 2 other suspects in this case are expected to be back in court for the same hearing on Monday.
6 of the 8 defendants in the murder and kidnapping of 20-year-old Mahogany Jackson appeared in court today in Birmingham for a preliminary hearing. Prosecutors displayed still images from videos taken while Jackson was held against her will. ABC 3340's Gracie Johnson was in the courtroom today. And Gracie, some of the defendants' charges were reduced and even dropped.
Muriel, based on testimony and evidence that was presented during the preliminary hearing, Judge William Bell found probable cause for the defendants to be bound over for grand jury consideration. But like you said, some of the charges were reduced. Brandon Pope, Jeremiah McDowell, Francis Harris, Tasia Lewis, Giovanni Clapp, and Ariana Robinson were all in court Wednesday for the preliminary hearing. The prosecution presented graphic screenshots from videos. All of these were taken while Mahogany Jackson was held against her will before she was murdered. The photos depicted Mahogany being slapped, punched, stripped nude, and forced to perform sexual acts while held at gunpoint. Jefferson County District Attorney Danny Carr discussed the nature of the videos.
Sheer brutality, the barbaric nature of it. You can't substitute that by just still photos.
There are 8 videos total, initially brought forward to law enforcement by an acquaintance who was able to provide copies of some of the videos and direct investigators to Jackson's body. Investigators discovered 3 additional videos late Tuesday night. All 8 of the defendants are seen in a portion of at least one of the videos. Pope, McDowell, and Harris were initially charged with 2 counts each of capital murder. Pope and McDowell's capital murder charge on the basis of rape and sodomy were dropped. Harris's 2 counts of capital murder both carried over. Lewis and Clapp were each charged with single felony murder charges and assault in the 2nd degree. Clapp's assault charge was reduced to 3rd-degree assault, which is a misdemeanor. Lewis's assault charge was bound over. Robinson was present in court today, yet her felony murder charge was bound over by another judge. Now, while some of the charges today were dropped or reduced, Judge Bell said that he made it clear that these charges can be brought back at any time by a grand jury.
We will continue to keep you updated as this case progresses to a jury. On March 8, 2024, Mahogany was laid to rest. Please make sure to keep her family and friends in your thoughts and prayers. May Mahogany Jackson continue to rest in peace.